Okay, everybody, game number 1 here today at the end of the storm. The bans and picks, the draft tool has been adjusted a little bit. You will see that the heroes are locked in first, and then the teams have to confirm that they actually want to pick or draft or pick or ban a hero. There was an adjustment made so that there were a bit less problems with the tool that we had in the past. So don't be confused if a hero is being locked in and all of a sudden it changes. So that was a slight change that GoGame has made here. We have currently Google going up against Virtus.pro, and as you can already tell, we are in the first game of the day, and that means that we are already looking at the first game of a best of 3 series, where the teams are going to try to get a good start into the group itself. It's Group C of the playoffs of the end of the storm in Europe, and we have Thrall already banned by a GoogleIshetZont. I have no clue if that's pronounced correctly. Team GIZ, like they like to call themselves. We're not going to do that, at least not in the game itself. But yeah, Virtus.pro right now can also ban Khaldor, or at least it looks like they do ban Khaldor. They didn't confirm it yet. But Khaldor is, of course, a great hero to suggest here. Other heroes that they could ban out in this case, I mean, a few teams really try to get rid as much as they can of Muradin, for example. The lock-in already on the side of Virtus.pro, so they really decided to get rid of Khaldor here. Muradin might be an early pick for Google. They could also go, of course, into a couple of other heroes. Zagara has been picked very early, and in this case, they're looking at her as we speak. So Muradin and Falstad, Muradin, Jaina, Muradin, Tyrande, those were combos that I would probably suggest for Virtus.pro to go right now. We had a lot of Muradin play actually over the last few days, and oftentimes the hero was banned out or picked as one of the first heroes. The same is also true to Stitches. Keep in mind, of course, that we are still like in the pre-PTR patch. So the AoE is still one of the most important things here on this map. But Muradin, again, is so powerful that most of the teams just like really love to play him here. He is just absolutely amazing. And Virtus.pro plays not Muradin with one of the combos of the heroes that I mentioned, but instead they go for Sonya here. And that allows that Stitches, first of all, now for Google to be taken. And they could go into the Falstad as well, or simply try to get another hero that can already combo with Stitches, like a Jaina, for example. Jaina is a very, very powerful hero in a Stitches combination. They didn't lock Stitches in yet. I want to emphasize that once again, that we have a bit of a change to the draft tool. So that you see Stitches here does not mean that he's locked down yet. They are thinking about it, they selected it, but they haven't actually locked him in yet. So they could change that hero still. So if they go for Stitches, then a Jaina would be quite powerful, and they agree and go immediately for Jaina. So we have that hook into burst combo, and it can be extremely powerful, especially with, of course, Zagara also providing a more as a setup for Jaina's potential Ring of Frost and the Blizzard, and a few other things that could come into play here as well. When it comes to the bans right now, Virtus.pro looking at this, they might even think about banning out Tyrande. She can be amazing for that follow-up, with Stitches getting the hook in, Tyrande with a stun, the Blizzard on Jaina, Tyrande, of course, with that extra damage. So she's definitely one of the heroes that you want to think about. There's a couple of other heroes that you have also to take in consideration. It depends a bit on what Virtus.pro wants to play here. Personally, I think they are going to play Falstad. If not, they should definitely think about banning him out here. Tassadar is a hero that is very likely for them to be taken as well. So with the setup that they're currently running, I would suggest that we are probably going to see something along the lines of a Tassadar for Virtus.pro if they get the opportunity, and a Falstad. Maybe even that Tyrande if they can. And first of all, they are going to ban, thinking about Johanna here, but Diablo, of course, is another hero that is very good with Jaina and Stitches. So Johanna is always a threat. There's an Uther ban. Okay, that's pretty cool because they want to make sure that Sonya doesn't get a Divine Shield. They could have banned a Tassadar, which would have been great against Zagara too. Personally, I think that if Virtus.pro get the opportunity, they will go into Tassadar Tyrande and also use then an auto attack hero like Falstad. They could also, of course, just decide to go into an additional Reyna, but instead of a Tyrande, it seems like they're leaning towards Kharazim, which is actually fairly strong since Muradin and Sonya are frontliners, and Kharazim after level 16 is, of course, healing depending on how many heroes are around him. Another reason why you would take Kharazim is that Stitches can hook a target and Kharazim can go for the 7-sided strike. That is also incredibly powerful. The same, unfortunately, for them is also true if you look then again at Tyrande. So that's something that Google could use here, and they could definitely try and make that happen. They go for a Reyna maybe over a Falstad. Those are definitely the two heroes that they're considering right now. Reyna and Falstad. Auto attack damage heroes. It's interesting to me that they go for Reyna over Falstad because Falstad is so mobile on this map that he's a huge asset to your team. Reyna is strong as well, but on Infernal Shrines I would probably give Falstad a bit of an edge over Reyna, even though the damage that Reyna can push out is incredible. Other heroes that we could see, I mean, I talked about most of them already, but we could, for example, also see something along the lines of No, forgot about it. Sylvanas, yeah, Sylvanas to push with the partnership, but I don't really think that Sylvanas fits in any of these compositions like perfectly. Maybe for Virtus Pro. Google has to think about Johanna. They have to think about Falstad. Those are probably the two heroes that make sense for them in this, like as an addition. But they need a heal as well. And as already predicted earlier, it seems like it's going to be that Tyrande. Fuzzyod, thank you very much, or Fuzzy Yoda, thank you very much for that sub and for the support here. Tyrande would be great as the follow-up for Stitches and Jaina, and they go over and like they could have gone into a Falstad if they want to play like super hyper-aggressive. Falstad would have been alright. They're locking Asmodan in. I would like that. I doubt it a bit, but I would love it. If they would actually go for an Asmodan here, like that would be... No, there's no way. We are not that lucky, are we? They're teasing now. That has to be a tease. They didn't lock him in yet, and that Johanna that appeared a bit earlier would make much more sense for them, considering that they're going for the shrine fights. Again, like if you get with Asmodan a lot of stacks, you can of course also dominate these shrine fights, but I haven't seen an Asmodan in ages. They are thinking about it apparently, and I mean the Russians are crazy enough to actually pick the hero. But they are teasing me. They are teasing me. Don't toy with me, buddy. Yeah, there she is. Johanna is back. That makes a bit more sense. I don't know who locked her in, who's currently the drafter for the team, but yeah, that was definitely a deliberate ruse. So, Virtus Pro, they could still go for that Falstad, which is actually super interesting. The thing is, though, if they go for Falstad now, then they have a Mirrodin solo. Vikings would actually make sense. But Zagara has vision on the map, and Tyrande could of course be a nuisance. Vikings have been played on this map a lot, and they actually go for them. Another option would have been Falstad, another option would have been a second frontliner like Leoric, but they go into the Vikings here for the experience Org, which I actually like a lot, because this is something that we haven't seen in a bit. Actually, like, not quite true. I mean, Team Liquid played it during the qualifier for the Spring Championship, and before that we saw KF5, a team that disbanded by now, played the hero a lot. So that was something where they played extremely well, and I mean, you can get incredible soak on this map. So we have a pretty cool setup. I mean, the lineup that we're seeing here is absolutely beautiful. This is really something. Vikings being played here for Virtus Pro. We have also, then again, that Stitches combination again with Tyrande and Jaina. It's game number one. Nick the Biz, thanks for the sub, my friend. And well, I guess with that, we are going into game number one to find out which team is going to take the lead here at the best of 3 at the end of the Storm playoff group C. So guys, let's jump in right away. Alright everybody, welcome to our first game here of the day. Infernal Shrines is the map, and as you can see we have Virtus Pro going up against Google. Google is once again looking for an umbrella, and well, in this case we have the Russian team. Well, both teams are basically Russian. To the left side of the map with Stork on Johanna, Asphyxia on Zagara, Unstable on Tyrande, Mopsio on Stitches, and Andy Lendy on Jaina. It's a game with Vikings as well, as we see to the right side of the map. Virtus Pro with Toxical on Sonya, we have Lunan on Karazim, Neon on Reyna, Sevkaja on the Vikings, and Power of Dream, the tank on Mirrodin. Pretty cool setup here actually for the two teams, and I'm pretty excited to see the Vikings again on this map. Stitches is of course always a pleasure to see him. It's great that he's back in the meta, and at this point we have him with a slam build, of course, at least on level 1 with the talent adjustment. It makes perfect sense if you want to go for all those minions on those shrines. By now Blizzard calls them monsters, or at least they plan to. The PTR patch has been released, is of course not the patch that this game is being played upon, since it is only a patch on the test realm and nothing more than that. But we have still a couple of things that Blizzard wants to do, and so far the patch is looking great. A lot of good changes. For example, the extra damage of towers against heroes will prevent that these early tower snipes occur in the future. So Blizzard definitely going into the right direction with the PTR, but they have to, of course, test all of those test realm changes a little bit, and then we might see them in the real game itself as well. But for now, we're of course looking at the version here. Nice attempt to go for Neon, but the hook misses. The stun was there though, and they go for Johanna. Stork has to move away here. Another condemn being used, and we still... Oh, the kill against Johanna after all. Well played here. Lunan already dashing away, and Eric now killed up at the top lane as well. Karazim hooked and taken down. Job well done by Mopsio. At the top lane, Sphyxia is of course now getting the experience, since we see the Vikings just now starting to revive and then rotate to the top again. With Vikings on this map, the whole idea is, of course, to really prolong the fight over the shrine itself for as long as you can, and then soak experience with the Vikings on the other lanes. If you can do that properly, then you will get a lead in experience and snowball from there. That's at least the idea behind it. And we've seen also Team Liquid play a lot with Vikings and go for play again, which can be actually a great talent if you're trying to flank the backline of your opponent. So there's always a chance that that happens as well. The last time that we saw the Vikings, Shat played them for TL, and he's an exceptional Vikings player, especially when he goes on his specialist, and he is absolutely powerful, not only in the Vikings and Abathur and a few other heroes as well, of course. But in this case now, it's Sefkaje who's trying to play the hero, and we have on level 4 already Team Google looking for an umbrella. The Google boys here with an owl build. Balog down up at the bot lane, where Jaina was soaking a bit of experience. Here in the middle, on the other hand, the shrine is under the control of Team Virtus.pro. Toxical gets hooked, Lunan dashes in, helping him out, and they keep everybody alive. The owl build for the additional heals up to the top lane. Eric was taken out just a second ago, and that means that Zagara can now move into the middle and help out if she wanted to. It's 5 versus 4 in levels, so a lead already for the Google boys here. A strong team that already qualified for the Spring Championship. They took down Fnatic to qualify, and it was an incredible strong game of them. So they are definitely the favorite going into this series, but Virtus.pro has shown in the past that this new lineup of theirs is also pretty powerful and can definitely take down any opponent on a good day. So that's what they're going to try and do here. We have an adjustment in builds also taken here for the Vikings now. Going for the Mercenary Lord on level 4 after on level 1 the Viking Bribery was taken. So the idea here is once again to just get that split push going, and especially if you go for the Mercenary Lord, that is of course easily doable. So for now we have also the Punisher jumping in deep. And Google, they're moving in. The Google team here going straight for the kill on the towers. The Punisher, of course, already defended, but still, they got a couple of those additional towers, the MD XP, and up to the top lane. We just saw Balog go down. So the Vikings definitely under a lot of pressure. And with the way that Google is currently dominating this game and also just keeping a hero on all of the lanes at all times, they're currently looking at an early level 7 talent that they can use to get a bigger advantage over the opponent here. Great play actually from the Google boys. We see them now with last bite on Stitches. Talking Stitches, he's moving up to the top lane with the rest of the team trying to go to look for Hook again. Hook, stun, and Power of Dream jumping out on his Muradin. Last moment here for him. And this creep now taken. A great talent to take if you're going up against Vikings. You want to have that full vision on the map so that you know at all times where the Vikings are positioned, and then you can try and take them down. Sefkaje down at the bot lane, of course, only attempting to get a bit more experience for his team. But right now they are very, very pressured. Power of Dream rotates down. They were trying to go for Jaina. The gank failed though. She already saw that coming. And up at the top, we are still seeing a move by Sefkaje going for the camp here. And we already have him, of course, with the Mercenary Lord now in a position where he can try to push this in. But Sphinxy is on the lane, and he's an incredible Zagara player. He had the chance to show his Zagara play a couple of times now over the last 10 days, and it was always one of the main factors why his team was winning here. So Sefkaje trying to stay in range. Olaf, on the other hand, at the bot lane down, and Andy Landy gets punished for the kill. They jump in, force him to the right side. They kill against Jaina. And this is actually only the second kill for the team in red in this game. With the level 4 talents, we now have Spin to Win taken. We're also seeing the follow through as a follow-up on Sonya. And we do not have Eternal Retaliation on Johanna. Of course, right now in the current patch, she still does a lot of extra damage to the minions on those shrines. But with all the other heroes that they have for AoE damage, they just decided that they don't need it and gave her a bit more self-sustain with the talent choice, going into the Laws of Hope instead. Level 10 is going to be very close here now for Team Google, and that of course means that they have a chance to use that during the fight. Eric is down again. Vikings are taken out all over the place. Great job here by Google looking for an umbrella. The Russian team here with a fun nickname is attempting to dominate this game from start to finish, and they are doing a very good job at that already. Level 10 ability is now in play for them too, with the Blessed Shield, with also now Putrid Bile, Water Elemental, Shadow Stalk, and I suppose for Zagara we're going to see that more. Even though in theory, going up against the Vikings, we could see a Nidus network, but well, that is only a hope, because let's face it, Maw is the talent that is taken like 99.9% of all time. So yeah, I don't really think that we are going to see a Nidus network anytime soon again. At least not on... maybe on a very, very big map, but usually when you look for team fights, then of course Maw is what you're looking for. And especially in the combo that we have with the Jaina, Maw is definitely the best option. The push up at the top lane is now determined to pit in level 10 also for Team Virtus Pro. And we see them with the Wrath of the Berserker. Play to win or play again. Yeah, pay to win, play to win. Play again has been chosen, and this talent is something that we, as I pointed out earlier, have seen quite a bit now. Vikings on all of the lanes for the extra experience, but the Punisher is moving in. The second one for the team in blue, and they're attempting to do a bit more than only take down the towers. They are all aiming straight for that keep. Already the attack, and the kill against Reyna. The main damage dealer is gone. Here comes play again. The Vikings are finally there to help out. Maybe with a spin to win, trying to go for the backline. Going in and trying to get a kill, but it's looking really bad at this point for Virtus Pro. They are getting completely hammered into the ground by their opponents here. Great play so far from the team in blue. They're doing exceptionally well here. 17,000 damage on Jaina. They took down the keep, and now they simply retreat. There's nothing more to gain for them here. We're seeing, especially of course when it comes to the siege damage, Zagara up at the front with 55,000. The Vikings not really coming into play in this game, and it's a pretty bad situation now for Virtus Pro to be in. The Vikings didn't play out at all for them. We have now a 7-sided strike taken. We're seeing the Wrath of the Berserker here. And at this point, it's Relentless plus Overflowing Light as level 13 talents, which give once again an advantage into the hands of Google looking for an umbrella. The team is doing very well here. And so far in the group, it's not really looking like Virtus Pro is going to have a chance, at least not on this first map. Level 13 talents is really important now, of course, for Google to run with that advantage, and they're trying to. They're setting up a bit of a flank, moving in with that talent advantage. Here comes the engage, blast shield used. Mobsio looking for the hook, but Stitches missing it here. They push the opponent back again. The Vikings still soaking experience. No camps that Sefkaje could use to get some value out of the Mercenary Law talent that he took a bit earlier. Sphyxia is of course trying to push this back now as well, but there's very little that he can do now either. I mean, he can't go for the fort. The rest of the team is already moving into the mid lane now, trying to destroy a few additional structures. They have that talent lead, and they are going to try and take advantage of that. That's one of the main things that you really have to do. When you have a talent lead for this long, you need to capitalize on it. And what you can do is either control the map and get those siege shines, get of course a couple of the knights as well, or you can also of course try to push down a few structures and force your opponent into a battle. At this point they can go for the objective, since it was just announced on the map, and that is going to help them quite a bit, since they will get another Punisher here. It's very unlikely that Virtus Pro is even going to try to contest it. They are most likely just splitting their heroes out on the map and attempt to drop a few structures so they get experience for level 13. That's exactly what we're seeing happening here, especially at the bot lane where Toxical and his Sonya is just moving in to drop another tower. Level 13 is going to be ready for them, but that's of course also something that the Google team knows, and that means they're moving in with most of their heroes for structure kills as well. We have already down to the bottom lane, still a bit of a push going on with that Khaldor camp assisting that catapult, and over here first tower down. They're preparing for the Punisher. Sefkaje with a play again, still hidden though. And now they're trying to move in for a potential flank against Sphyxia, but Zagara is too far out. The hook attempt, but only the minion eliminated. And with 26 minions taken, we see now Johanna still up on that shrine. Level 13 talents versus 13 talents now though, so a bit of a chance maybe for Virtus Pro to turn this around. Already Muradin heading straight into that Burning Rage, which will help him to take down all of those creep tumors of Zagara. Mystical Spear. We see even an adjustment on Karazim, who decided that he doesn't need to go into Relentless, but that it would be much better to go into the Spell Shield here to negate some of that damage that especially of course Jaina can dish out. Giant Killer for Reyna has been taken now as well, and with Reyna in play and trying of course to push them back now, he might get a chance to maybe go for Stitches, but the problem is really that this Punisher is an arcane Punisher. It's level 15 versus 13, and even though there's not a talent lead, there's still a pretty significant stat lead. Here comes the engagement. Power of Dream is jumping in and going deep. Eric is down already. They go in with a jump, use the spin to win. Now try to drop a target, but they lose Muradin, they lose Sonya, and this is a slaughter. Virtus Pro is getting completely annihilated here. Some of the Vikings are already down. Reyna is now dying as well. Lunan is trying to escape, and they actually let him go. Only the Mutalisk is following it up, and we will see Google go straight for the core here. They start to move in, they drop, they keep, and now they aim for core on that level, or that one victory in this best of 3 series. Level 16 is dropping additional talent into their hands. Not that they really need it, but in this game, Google completely destroyed Virtus Pro, and they take the lead in the series with a 1-0 against Virtus.pro. Congratulations and well played. And of course, we're going to go straight into game number 2 to find out who's going to win the series. Alright guys, once again we are in the draft and Tomb of the Spider Queen is game number 2 between Virtus.pro and Google is looking for an umbrella. And not sponsored by Google, by the way. Stork just likes to come up with funny nicknames for his teams. We had a bit of a change to the draft tool, I have to stress that again. So the hero that appears is not necessarily the hero that a team locks down. They can change it, they need to confirm the hero first. With the lead that we have for Google, they are currently of course in the 1-0 and could finish things off here on Tomb of the Spider Queen. And, well, let's just face it, Virtus.pro, they will have to step it up a little bit if they really want to make sure that they can go into game number 3, because they got destroyed on the last map. That draft did not really work out for them. Zagara banned out already. We could still see that ban on Thrall or on Kalthas. It's actually very likely that one of these 2 heroes will be banned out. A third alternative would be Muradin. Those 3 heroes are incredibly popular right now when it comes to drafting, and they have all a lot to offer on a map like this anyways. Like if you want to go for Muradin, for example, the rotation between mid and top is very strong, so you could ban him out. You could ban a Kalthas for all the damage that he can dish out here as well. Thrall is powerful overall since the scaling changes. He has gained in popularity, and that's also the reason why Google is currently banning him out here. There's just too much that Thrall combos off with, and he's a monster when he starts to get some momentum because of that self-sustain that he has. For Virtus.pro, they lock... Region, thanks for the resub, my friend. They could lock now either Muradin or Kalthas down. It looks like they are going for Kalthas, and indeed they do. For Google, it's an opportunity to first of all take Muradin, and then with that they can start to make really their adjustment for the map itself. Muradin already selected here, but now they have a lot of options of what they could pick second. We've seen Muradin Sonya taken, which is a very strong combo at the beginning. You can go into one of those auto attack damage dealers right at the start if you want to, especially with Falstad and Reyna, of course, capitalizing on Seasoned Marksman quite heavily on this map here. There's a few other options that you can run as well. Jaina, for example, would be a good counterpart to Kalthas and can then also be comboed off with Muradin, a potential follow-up stun and that burst damage. And in the days of old, we would of course have seen now a Muradin Tyrande. You couldn't still play that. Tyrande has been nerfed a bit by Blizzard, but they did it in a very smart way, that they only tuned her down a little bit, and so she's still present in most drafts, but she's not an automatic first ban, first pick anymore. She's still an option though, and with Stitches she worked really well in the last game. Seems like they actually reconsider and go for Stitches. Yeah, Muradin and Stitches are probably the 2 heroes that in terms of the front line really want to think about here. Stitches has of course the added value that you can interrupt the channel and just start to hook somebody from there. Good vision would be preferable with that, but they pick both of them. Yeah, they can also go into that heavy front line. If they want to play Stitches, then they still have to think about Jaina though. The problem is if they pick Muradin now, the chances that Virtus.pro ban out Jaina is very high. If they don't pick Muradin, Virtus.pro is going to pick Muradin. So that's the problem that they're currently facing, and they decide that they would rather play Muradin themselves and let Jaina be banned out than offer Muradin up to Virtus.pro. So it's already a bit of a fight over the tanks, and that's something that Virtus.pro has to accept here now. They have to pick one tank, because if they don't, then Google is going to ban one out in the next phase, and that would be a disaster for Virtus.pro because their options would be even more limited. Personally, depending on what they it depends a bit on what they want to play now, but a Johanna would be great for the wave clear as well. We have, in terms of tanks, probably 4 tanks that play a role for them right now: ETC, Diablo, Leoric, and Johanna. And with those 4, you have a lot of options. Now that Tyrande is played, Diablo would be a great engage for that, but you can also play it with ETC. So those are the 2 heroes that would make the most sense. Personally, I think that ETC would probably not be the best pick here, since Muradin already offers a very good stun against him, and Stitches, of course, has then also that hook that he can use to just interrupt the mosh pit. But they go into Sonya first. Now, that's interesting. Google could now ban out probably Diablo. I don't really feel that they're going to be too scared of Stitches. I assume that they will probably take a bit more stun heroes as well. So if they want to ban one of the frontliners, it could be the Diablo, but they seem to consider Leoric a little bit stronger here. Leoric can, of course, with that Drain Hope be an absolute nuisance to Muradin and Stitches, so it feels like they're a bit more scared about that and not really about the Tyrande combo per se. As already predicted, Virtus.pro, they are probably going to ban out Jaina here for the reasons mentioned. If they don't, then there's just way too much that can happen after a hook, after a stun. So it would probably be their best bet to ban out Jaina. And they agree and lock her actually down. They select and lock her down. Google now. Yeah, I mean, with Google currently in a position where they could, for example, once again use that charism and just offer him, like with 7-sided strike, as an additional damage dealer after Stitches hooks someone. A Tacita is an option that you have as well.
Let the dogs out!
Fuzzy Yoda, let the dogs out. That's let the dogs out.
Let the dogs out!
There's that charism.
Woof, 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 woof.
Cheers, dude. Let my mods know which chibi you would want. What's your favorite hero there? Charism has been locked in, as I already said. It's interesting that they actually think about Vala here. That is actually very interesting. Vala, I don't really believe that Vala would be the best choice for them. I mean, Vala over the potential Falstad or Reyna, wow. They really seem to like that wave clear. And, I mean, they have Stitches. They could... this map is actually tricky. I would probably go for Hungry for More because you can get so many regeneration globes. But if you talk wave clear, then Stitches would be quite nice. They could have really gone... I think it's a wave clear issue more than anything else. Virtus Pro with the Tacita. Tyrande Tacita is extremely powerful now. Tacita can be played as a solo heal as well. We've seen that a lot. And he's very strong at that. But with Tyrande, you have even a bit more than that. And they seem like they're going for an ETC after all. Now, as I said, I find it a little bit surprising considering that there's Mirrodin and Stitches already around. And Google should probably think about like getting another hero that has maybe a stun. I would think about a Falstad at this point. Reyna can be nice as well. I guess Falstad, Reyna, and also Sylvanas. Those three are probably what they're thinking about at this point. All three of them would add a lot of value. An auto-attack damage dealer is not too bad. Reyna, apparently it is. Falstad would have the additional Mighty Gust, which is always pretty cool and can be used here too. But Reyna, of course, has a pretty... like, he hits pretty hard. And with Inspire and everything else that he brings to the table, he's a pretty solid hero to take here. Has also the Bullseye later that he can use. Unless, of course, they go for Executioner, which is a little bit more popular these days. And with Stitches going for Putrid Bile and Mirrodin with probably the Reverberation build, you could definitely use that too. So in terms of wave clear, it's mainly Vala that they rely upon here, but also Reyna to a certain extent. So it's a pretty solid setup here for Google, I have to say. For Virtus Pro, I'm not 100% certain about that Stitches pick considering the lineup of their opponent. Overall, Stitches is of course a great hero and works also very well with Tyrande and with the rest of their setup. I'm just wondering if maybe a hero along the lines of a Johanna or even a Diablo to just like combo with Tyrande and have that heavy engage would have been a bit better for them. Even though both of them have of course a couple of downsides too. ETC can dash away after being hooked, so that works for him. But yeah, it's a solid setup. Virtus Pro, they have to win now if they want to force game number 3. And we're going to jump into the match here on Tomb of the Spider Queen to see if Google can take it with a 2-0 or if Virtus Pro is bouncing back and takes this game now to force game 3 out of this series. Game number 2, everybody, has just started and we have Google in the lead against Virtus Pro. Team GIZ, Google is looking for an umbrella. The Russian team, the left side. Both of the teams are Russians, as I already said. We have Stalk on Mirrodin, Unstable on Charism, Andilendi on Vala this time. Mopsio is on Stitches, being a bad boy here, being silenced. And Sphyxy on Arena. So a very solid setup here already for Google. And to the right side of the map, we have Virtus Pro down in the series. They need to win 2 in a row now if they want to advance to the winners match of Group C at the end of the Storm playoffs. We have Toxical on Sonya, Sefkaja on Kelthos. Power of Dream once again playing the tank role here with ETC. Neon on Tyrande, and we see Lunan on Tacita. So that Tyrande and Tacita composition that we're currently seeing here is incredibly powerful and very, very popular these days, at least on the European server. Tacita on this map also great because it can give you vision over the 2 turn-in spots, and that's one of the things that they will definitely need. Stitches is going to try and hook them out whenever he gets an opportunity to do that. And we see him actually straight again with that Slam build. On this map, I could have seen Hungry for More. Like, that is one of the talents that is incredibly strong when you like try to just like get a heavy hit point pull on your hero. And since you get so many regeneration globes on this map, it would have been definitely a good choice. But they decided to go instead into the additional wave clear. It's also one of the reasons why they picked in the first case Vala, so that she has a bit of like extra pushing power in wave clear thanks to a composite arrow arsenal and then later also the frost shot. Mirrodin, as expected, is going into the Reverberation build, and we have at least one seasoned marksman on their side, and that is Reyna, who's currently running on the Billy Mount. Interestingly enough, we have for Tyrande now also Seasoned Marksman taken on level 1. Now Virtus Pro in the days of old has actually popularized a bit of a build on this map in particular, where you would go Seasoned Marksman level 1, Searing Arrows on level 4, and even Hunter Swiftness on level 13. A talent that got buffed in the last patch. It's something that they could actually use here too. The only reason why I would maybe not do it is that Pierce on level 4 is absolutely amazing if you're trying to cancel some channels. So it depends really if they value that highly enough, or if they just say, hey, we need a bit more damage besides what we already have, even though we run this with the Kalthas and also Sonya. I'm very eager to see what the level 4 talent is going to be for Tyrande, because there's definitely a couple of options of how they could play this at this point. The teams both in the mid lane now. Hook attempts, of course, once again. mopsio is trying to drop that in again. Reyna is now the one that moves straight down to the bot lane against Sonya. Oftentimes you would see Vala move down here so that Reyna can get a couple of stacks, but in this case it actually works out for them this way. There's nobody that can heavily push this lane against him, like, let's say, for example, Zigara or even Sylvanas. We have Stefkaja leaving the game, so apparently a couple of problems here on the side of Virtus Pro, but shouldn't take them too long to actually get back into this. You can really tell that currently it's that attempt again to just secure a position with a rotation. It's very popular to rotate between the mid lane and up to the top lane. The advantages that you have with that is that you always pass the turn-in spot here, so your opponent cannot turn in. You control the turn-in point, and you might be able to just snipe a hero on one of these two lanes if you play properly. If you can zone them out and deny a few of the gems to them, that's great, of course, as well. The only hero that is currently not following the rotation is Stark, who is still sitting on his Mirrodin and apparently thinking about going for Toxical here. Now, with Reyna and Mirrodin, it's actually quite unlikely that they're going to get a kill against Sonya, unless, of course, she gets baited in. But usually, with everything that she has to offer, she can escape here. But Toxical has to be careful here. Losing one of the heroes at the bottom lane is incredibly annoying, since one of the things that you have to do afterwards is you have to use one of the heroes over here and rotate them down to the bot lane instead and make sure that you get an opportunity to soak the experience there. This is one of the maps that can be incredibly snowbally. What you usually try and do is you get the first turn in for the Web Weavers. After that, you are just moving in, taking down a few of the structures, try to at least drop the towers. If you get a kill during that fight, you go for the fort. If not, you rotate from lane to lane, take the towers here instead. And after that, you would of course attempt to deny the turn in to your opponent so that their gems can't be useful and you turn in again. The whole idea is to ideally get level 10 with the first push. And in that case, you would have a massive lead in map control because you have the rogue ability already. And with the second Web Weaver wave, you start a bit of a snowball. But that is only if it works perfectly out for you. If you lose a couple of heroes in the early game, if you don't do as much damage as you potentially could at the beginning, and it's of course a completely different matter. Down to the bot lane here, as I said, Toxical is safe, not dropped by Stark and Sphyxy, but now of course had to well up, and that needs to be a bit careful here. Kalthas needs to be also very careful because mopsio is going to try and hook him in every single one of these engagements as much as he can. We have now the movement up to the top, and so far Virtus Pro is controlling these two lanes a little bit better with that rotation that they're running here. It helps of course to have Tassadar in the move now so that he can use the Oracle every now and then so that they can see the exact approach of their opponent. Bot lane pressure again. Toxical actually this time stunned out Vala move down to help out Sphyxy, but here comes ETC. They go for Stark and they get that kill. They try to protect the gems and make sure that they're not being picked up. Well played. So the original idea here was for Team Google to actually move in and drop Toxical, but they overextended a bit and then suddenly started losing out on heroes. No turn-ins yet, but we have 24 against 12 because we saw Mirrodin die a few seconds ago. And a slight leading experience now, of course, as a result too, on the hands of Virtus Pro. And they fly it again. Double stun. Oh, the lockdown. Beautiful chains and timing here with the Sefkaja waiting until the last moment before he used his Nether Wind. Great play here. They get 2 kills now in the early level 4. And that's, of course, also the start of their potential snowball here, if they can make that happen. Well, we have for now, in their case, actually still on level 4. Yes, it is Searing Arrows. So they went for Searing Arrows, no Pierce talent taken. On other maps, bigger maps in particular, you still see a bit of adjustment with, even if you don't go for the level 1 Empower, you will see the Owl talents on 4 and 16 sometimes. They alone combo and have a lot of synergy, but here it's all about that DPS. And this is like one of those old school Tyrande builds for Virtus Pro that they've used back in the days already. Once again the lockdown, this time against Andy Landy. Healing Ward already to play on Karazim. Dashes in again, and mopsio and Unstable. Everybody is actually incredibly low here. Oh, but the hook against Sefkaja. Yeah, he needs to be careful with this one now. At the bot lane, Reyna is still doing his thing. We have level 4 versus level 5. Both of the teams now at exactly the same talent. And as you can already tell, the start with the Leeching Plasma into the shield build that Tassadar will complete on level 7 with Carla's Embrace. We are also seeing now Stitches following that train of thought with his Slam build and Arsenal for Vala. So both of the heroes trying to go for the most wave clear that they can get. And another snipe attempt. Stork is jumping out, gets, wow, unstable, keeping him alive here with a nice heal. Doesn't even have Echo of Heaven yet. We'll get that on the next level, of course. But yeah, so far it's actually looking very solid for Virtus.pro, even though they did not get that last kill here. But they made a very nice effort at attempting to. So for now we have Unstable, Undilendi, Stork and everybody else still in the rotation. They need to start and turn in a few of their gems. They actually have enough to completely turn in. Haven't done that yet. But if they get that completed, it would actually be funny to see them with the first Web Weaver wave, because so far it was mostly Virtus.pro that was able to control those two turn-in spots. And Reyna is turning in, and they are actually going to complete it. Wow. That was a bit of a blunder there for the opponent's team. They nearly had a turn-in. Virtus.pro has like turned in most of the gems, and they were only missing, I think, 5, 6, something like that. And they didn't complete it. And now the blue Web Weavers are up against them, so that snowball idea is not going to work for them anymore, unless of course they get a couple of kills in here now. But level 7 will drop soon enough. Power of Dreamer gets hooked, but there's no follow-up, so he doesn't have to be afraid of this. Rain at the bot lane, still soaking XP, still pushing the towers in. Stitches at the top, trying to do the same thing, but Vala sniped away. That ETC combo is working incredibly well for them, considering that there's a double tank ready on the other side. At the bot lane, we had Reyna push in a bit, but not really able to drop these towers just yet. Level 7 for both of the teams, and that leaves us now with Cleanse on Charism over the Echo of Heaven. After all these stuns that we saw from ETC and also Tyrande decided to go into Cleanse, talent has been changed a little bit. You can now properly cleanse like back in the old days, even with a proper pre-cleanse. I was actually mistaken in one of my last casts when I thought that he took the pre-cleanse out, but it is back in again. So there was like at times one of these a bit buggy pre-cleanses where you had like 3 frames where you could still get a pre-cleanse, but now you can do that again. So you have the full pre-cleanse ability here, but it's a 60-second cooldown. So pretty strong and great talent to take, but of course you give up a lot of heal if you don't go for Echo of Heaven, and he risks it. Mopsio taken down again, 4 kills against 0. Virtus.pro definitely turning things around here and playing an aggressive build with follow-through taken for Sonya with a double support that they're running. They just simply said, hey, we don't need ferocious healing. We can go for that. And the red Web Weaver wave is now also descending. So after the blue Web Weaver wave didn't really do a whole lot of damage, the immediate turn-in on the opponent's team. And if you look at the gem count, if they don't lose any gems, they can turn in again after this Web Weaver wave right away. And that would be great for them. If they can go through a few structures here, that would be absolutely amazing for the team around Sefkaja. They go up to the top lane again for a bit of damage. They're already seeing the Web Weavers in play. The lead in experience is definitely there now. Fission Bomb, of course, on the side of Kel'Thas. Last bite, probably. Yeah, last bite taken. We've seen both talents on level 7 for Devour taken on Stitches. But here comes that unstable. Yeah, the power slide nearly taken out. The hook against Neon. The shield is ready. Stork moves in. Once the stun doesn't get it and Neon is about to escape. Stork, on the other hand, gets wrecked in the face. Well played here. Virtus.pro definitely showcasing now that they are strong enough to take on the Google team. Very, very well played. So the hook again against Toxical, but he has now the opportunity to move away and does that. Jumps out and they go for the lockdown against Karazhan. That's another set of gems that of course is missing. Leap taken for the engage. Sonya with Leap going full war build. And we have now Mosh Pit, we have Phoenix, Shadow Stalk, and of course also on the side of Tassadar again his Force Wall. Force fields were already imbalanced as hell in Heart of the Swarm, and here in Heroes of the Storm Protoss is still pretty strong, and that's why of course that's an easy pick here. But Archons are also pretty good, but these days it's of course all about the Force Wall, especially when you're running a setup like they currently do, and on this map in particular. Level 10 abilities, extremely powerful for them now. And they get the second Web Weaver wave, as I already said. They had the account of gems. And they still have 21. So they have the same amount of gems, more or less, than the blue team, even though it's for them the second Web Weaver wave that is coming into play. And with that level 10 ability, they can now start to really snowball that, at least at the beginning, because only a few more minions are missing, and then we're going to see level 10 for both of the teams. But the mid lane, that's exactly what they do there. Hyperion now, 7-sided strikes, Strafe, Putrid Bile have already been claimed. And here's the avatar for Muradin. So now we're going to see if that Stitches hook into 7-sided strike is going to work out for them. There comes the Hyperion trying to zone them back. Stork jumps in with the avatar. They go deep for their potential kill against Fixie. 7-sided strike already being used. Everybody rushing away. Lunan low, and Toxical is dying. They go for ETC and they get the kill. The first 2 kills for Team Google looking for an umbrella. And that was very well played here. Once they had the level 10 abilities, they started to make a bit of a comeback. Question is, of course, now can they keep that momentum up? It's level 11 versus level 11. Oh, really level 12 now for Virtus.pro. And Virtus.pro can move down to the bot lane to dish out a bit more damage, which is exactly what they do. They still have 19 gems ready now, and they are attempting to go for it. Stork is moving in, though. They go for Kel'Thas. Vala in a bit of trouble. Kel'Thas slowed. Stitch is moving in up from the top. Shouldn't be in time, though. And the lockdown against Stork. He jumps out again with his leap. But, yep, so far, so good. Talking leap, I mean, he used the Dwarf Toss. Leap had been used a bit earlier by Toxical, but he has the cooldown ready in another 10 seconds, and that might be the opportunity that they need to jump into the backline and take Reyna off Vala down. So right now, already waiting, here comes that stun. Toxical moves in, and Leap is ready again, so if they see an opportunity, they might just jump in for it. For now, Power of Dream at the front line once again, rotation into the middle. They still have 22 gems that they hold. 53 now, on the other hand, for the opponent's team. And yeah, with 53 gems, 59 now, you can get another turn in. So that works out for them if they get the second Web Weaver wave released. That level 13 talent is always a bit of a threat now to Google is looking for an umbrella. But at the same time, if you think about it, it's not really that massive lead that we saw earlier. That was a very interesting, that was, what? Yeah, very optimistic leap actually there by Toxical. I'm not quite sure what he was. They were probably thinking that with a good leap, they might get Power of Dream in position fast enough to get the follow-up stun in. Yeah, bit optimistic, I'd say, but still. I mean, if it works out, you look like a genius. Didn't work out, so you look a little bit silly, but yeah. Let's face it, if we play Sonya and we play Leap, we would like to jump around as well. So Stork already down to the bottom of the map. Fixie attempting to turn in 22 gems on his part and Unstable with another 15. But this time at least Virtus.pro is ready for it and they moved in to deny it. Level 13 talents now. Mystical Spear. Chain Bombs. That's where the party starts for Kel'Thas. Overflowing Light. The kill against Muradin. There's so many stuns right now and so many displacements that it's very tricky for them to make anything happen. Putrid Bile more as an escape than anything else. And once that Stitches starts to spread that bile, following is of course going to cost you a lot of hit points here. Talking about hit points, Prescience is going to increase the survivability on Tassadar quite significantly. And once he has this dimensional warp, that will only increase. So it's definitely going to help them here. An attempt to go for the camp. The problem is that Power of Dream and Toxic are already there. I'm not quite sure if they really want to fight this. There is the Mosh Pit though. Mosh Pit and the kill against Reyna. Well played. Good job once again. And they go in for the double kill. Stitches is now down 2. They steal the camp away. They kill all of those gems. All of them are lost. And it is an amazing opportunity now once again for Virtus.pro to get farther and farther ahead in this game and force a third map in this series. Great play here. I mean, at the end of the storm, in all of those group stages, we had already incredible games. Fnatic versus Bubble Squad, if you remember that in Group B, was absolutely stunning. And now we're currently looking at another nice setup here in Group C. Level 13 talents now with the Relentless Leader. Great talent actually, considering how many stuns we see on the side of the opponent. Muradin apparently a little bit lost, like he needs Google Maps or something, because he got completely lost on this side of the map. But the turn over here is already happening now. We have Frostshot taken, Relentless and Thunderstrike. And in this case, Stitches is also heading straight into Relentless to make sure that all of these stuns are not going to hurt too much. So if you look at the level 13 talents on the side of Google, a lot of these are adjusted to what we see from Virtus.pro and the way they play the game now. Stuns into stuns into stuns, that's the name of the game. They still play that stun meta, and that works quite well for them, at least so far. 9 kills against 2 tell the tale. And with all of those Relentless and also the Relentless Leader, that's of course a great set of talents that we are seeing for Team Google to make sure that this is maybe a bit mitigated at least. The turn-in is completed, and they are starting to move in. Mopsio is going to look for another opportunity to hook. Those chain bombs are so annoying right now from Kel'Thas. He's always trying to move in and get those into play. Here's the Hyperion and Phoenix trying to counter that. Here comes that hook against Tassadar. But yeah, he can of course shift away. Power of Dream once again. Cooldowns, most of them are ready. Strafe in the backline already used. Here comes the leap. and the kill against Vala. Nice move by Toxel, even waiting for the strafe, and once he sees it, jumping in and taking her out, stunning her out of the ult first of all, and they attempt to go for mobs here now as well. Toxical already moving in, Kalthos in the backline, super safe. Stefkash can easily just like drop every spell here, and they go again for Stalk. Unstable, spreading the bombs now, needs to dash away, well, doesn't even get the chance to do that. He explodes after the 7-sided strike, and this is going to at least end the fate of this particular keep in the mid lane. 16 versus 14 now, in the additional talent with the nerves of Steel and Sonya, Arcane Barrier and Kalthos, imposing presence for ETC. We have in the case of Tyrande the two-shot aura taken, and of course the dimensional warp now for Tacita. And they're starting to move now up to the top lane, not only for the potential kill against the mosh pit, a bit too late with the channel here, but they will still get that keep. With Charism not in play, out of commission, there's absolutely no way that they can actually defend this. I mean, you need a support to have that sustain, and now 2 of the keeps are down. The one at the bot lane has already suffered a bit of damage. The wall has been destroyed, which is the more important part, I suppose. But this is a great scenario now for Virtus.pro. And they start to move straight up to the boss. And I mean, they can. They are 3 levels ahead. And they also have, of course, now that extra talent on level 16 that's going to help them even more. There is no vision on the map at all for the opponent. And this boss is an easy claim, especially with Tacita in a great position for another force wall. So they get the boss, and now they can even go for the fight here. They are going straight again for Stalk, and the leap being used. Oh my god, Muradin is down. Sonya is having a fun game here, just jumping around the entire time. Feels a little bit like crisscross, just jump, jump, jump all day long. And with the boss now, they could even go for Korn, why wouldn't they? I mean, just like looking at the setup that they're running here, we have at this point now also the opportunity for them to just like have a look at the damage here, for example. We see Sonya at 20,000, Kalthos at 30,000, Vala is 50k, but that's mostly, of course, well, composite arrow damage with Arsenal, multi-shot, and that is an easy game now on the side of Virtus.pro. They are going to tie this series up. We are going to see a 3rd game in our first series of the day. Great for us, of course. GG, well played. Let's jump into game number 3 between Google and Virtus.pro. That being said, we're going straight into our next draft. We have, of course, also a chibi adjustment, since we just had another nation here, and that means that in this case we are going to see a good old Tacita GB, since Tacita was very successful in the last game. But besides that, we also have a couple of heroes, of course, once again banned out. And Google is starting in this 3rd game of the day with a ban on Sonya on Battlefield of Eternity. Wouldn't be surprised to see Zagara now locked in for Virtus.pro and banned out. Zagara is very powerful here and one of the heroes that the teams prefer now. Then again, there is of course also Thrall to consider, and I suppose for Virtus.pro this is a really annoying situation, because no matter what they do, they either give Google Zagara or they give them Thrall. And with Sonya banned out, there won't be a counterpart to Thrall either, and it looks like Virtus.pro is more willing to give them a Thrall than Zagara. Of course, Google could also react with an early Muradin here, with an early Stitches. All 3 of those heroes are pretty amazing on this map. But they go for Thrall. That kind of makes sense. I mean, the whole draft that they had so far, there was a reason why they didn't ban him, why they actually banned Sonya instead. At least they think about it. I suppose the only other hero that I would really be willing to take in this case would maybe be Stitches super early on. Battlefield of Eternity is a map where you have the objective in the middle of the map, the 2 immortals fighting against each other, which means that there are no minions, nothing else around that can obstruct the hook. So once you land that hook, you are not guaranteed a kill, but you have a very good shot at taking a hero out. So an early Stitches pick could be very strong here. Thrall, on the other hand, he is absolutely powerful. We've been talking about it a bit earlier, and he is picked here. Virtus.pro could go Stitches Muradin. They could go, well, so they have the option to go for both, but with Kalthos around, it's a little bit unlikely. And they don't get either one of the tanks. Okay, yeah, that is a bit of a surprise. Apparently Virtus.pro just saying, hey, we want to have a Tyrande composition again, and they picked 2 of the heroes that were like the strongest in the last patch, and Google is immediately reacting. They take Muradin, and I wouldn't be surprised if they also drop the Stitches and play a super heavy frontline here with a strong damage dealer maybe in the back then. But yeah, they have a lot of potential picks here right now. I mean, you can go Stitches, you can combo that with an Uther so that he gets that stun in after the hook and provides the Divine Shield for Thrall. You can play a Charism with that setup, going to the 7-sided strike again. Muradin Stitches would be a great combo. You can play either one of the 2 as a solo and can ban the other one out. keep that in mind, that actually after these 2 picks we have the ban, so Google could decide to go into one of them and ban the other one out. Now starting to switch things around a little bit, going apparently for an ETC. Now we've seen a lot of Thrall sundering into Mosh Pit, which can be very strong, and that is actually something that they might try and do here. But no, they picked the Jaina first of all for that burst damage. I like that idea, because I think Virtus.pro would have banned Jaina again like they did in the last draft. But Google still should lock down one of those frontliners, my opinion. If they don't want to do that, and they want to really look at even more range damage, then Falstad would be an option. But they go into ETC, Muradin and Stitches, not taken yet. Wow. That is actually a little bit crazy. I haven't really seen that after the last patch, and even a little bit before that. I haven't seen it in ages. At least when it comes to Muradin. Stitches, of course, he was already played in scrims that I watched before the patch, but after the patch and his little damage boost that he got there, we saw him in basically every single draft as either one of the banned or picked heroes. And right now, Virtus.pro, I mean, what do you ban out here? They will most likely take either Muradin or Stitches. They could ban the other one out, but they are leaning apparently towards an auto attacker. Leads me a bit to believe that they are most likely going to take, I suppose, Falstad here. Falstad can be so super annoying with that Mighty Gust. Yeah, they ban Reyna out. And now, if I was on the side of Google, I would probably try to ban one of the tanks. And yes, that's what they do. They ban Muradin out. That leaves Diablo and Stitches as the potential combo initiator for Tyrande with a stun lock, Kel'Thas and of course also with the gravity lapse. And besides that, personally, I would probably then go for Falstad and take Falstad here. You could still go into Vala. You have nice poke, and with those immortal fights that would of course work as well. There's also Tassadar to consider if they want to go into the double support. They could do that again. They already did that in the last game, and the vision on this map is also fairly important. Diablo, apparently it's going to be him. They haven't locked him in yet, but they are currently selecting him. Yes, so Diablo for the initiate. And it is the Tassadar. They go into Tassadar. Okay, so that is already going to be pretty powerful if they lock him down. Diablo would be, at this point, the solo tank, though, and that can be a liability in the late game. He has 2 supports, which makes it a bit easier to keep him alive, but I personally would really prefer for them to set another hero at his side. I guess right now they would like to go for Stitches, but they could also, if Stitches is picked now, or even if he isn't, go for Ethereal. With Sanctification, that is a great hero to make sure that, yeah, well, that Mosh Pit, not only the Mosh Pit, but also like Jaina doesn't really do too much damage. Google is leaning towards Falstad now that Reyna has been banned out. They still need a bit more auto attack damage. And they go into Uther. Uther, great here for the Divine Shield on Thrall, for the Divine Shield on ETC, so that really helps them. ETC as a solo tank does work in that setup. He has another very annoying frontliner right next to him with the melee assassin with Thrall, Green Jesus, splitting, or Green Moses, is splitting the opponent's army with the Sundering. And well, for now, let's see what Virtus.pro is going to run here. They could still run into that Stitches. We've seen Diablo and Stitches comps several times in the past few days. I guess if they want to run a bit more damage, then they have to go into something along the lines of Avala. The problem is always that Diablo can be quite a liability, as I said. And there's that Tyrael that I mentioned earlier. I love it. I would really like to see a Tyrael. Stitches feels alright too, but I would really like that Tyrael because he offers shields. He's a bit more aggressive. You can jump in the back line. You have that Sanctification. And there we have it. I'm feeling good now. Okay, calling the Tyrael early and they really go for it. So I'm liking that choice. They had others. They could have gone into more aggression. They could have gone for Stitches here. But I like that Diablo to run the combo as the engage. Tyrael for a bit more damage. So this is actually looking pretty sweet for our third game. And yeah, let's jump in and find out which team is going to take it here. Virtus.pro versus Google. Which of these 2 teams is going to advance to the winner's match and which team will drop down to the loser's match. The game is starting, everybody, and we have game number 3 in the best of 3 series here. So it is the final match between Virtus.pro and Team Google looking for an umbrella. I really could like slapstock around a little bit for their team name. I mean, that is a mouthful right there. But we have them to the left side now, and these boys are strong. Stalk on ETC. We have Sphinxy now on Jaina, Mopsio on Thrall, Unstable on Uther, and Andy Lendy is playing Falstad. To the right side of the map, it is Virtus.pro with Toxical on Tyrael. We have Neon on Tyrande, Lunan on Tassadar, Power of Dream currently playing Diablo, and Sefkaje is playing Kel'Thas once again. So yeah, let's check out how exactly they're going to play this game now. So far, at least it's pretty standard, at least when it comes to the talents. We have Stitches for once not picked, nor picked nor banned. And, well, everybody is focusing on the bot lane. Yeah, Diablo is always looking a little bit weird in this particular skin. It's not one of my favorites, I have to say. He's always a little bit odd, bit of an oddball anyways. But yeah, so we have False Set back in play, and we're actually like rocking also Jaina. Now I have to admit that I really like Jaina in this combination on the Dire Wolf, and that Master skin on Jaina is absolutely looking formidable. Personally, I'm not a fan of the hero. I really hate to play her, but that's just like personal preference. I hated playing Sorcerers and Wizards in Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 as well. But she is a great hero, of course, and that skin is absolutely beautiful. A little sexy hexy right there. Andilendi, Sphyxie, Unstable, and Stalk currently at the bot lane in a 4 versus 4 situation against Luna and Power of Dreams, Stefkaja and Neon. And up to the top, we're having, first of all, Toxical and Mopsio. And that is going to be a bit of an annoying lane for Tyrael here. Yeah, he's not going to have too much fun there against Thrall. Thrall can be a pretty big lane bully, especially, of course, with that Chain Lightning at the beginning of the game. And that's exactly what they're running here right now. So the increased range is going to help them with level 1 Rolling Thunder to just push this in. We have Devil's Stew, by the way, taken on Diablo, not going into Soul Feast. Oh, they're locked down again! And Stalk survives. Wow, very well played. Unstable actually keeping him alive here. Yeah, and Uther is once again in the game. I mean, Uther, of course, right now is fulfilling a couple of very important functions in this game now. First of all, the Divine Shield is going to be a great asset for not only ETC, but also Thrall, depending on the situation of the game. And the stuns are going to be great follow-ups for everything that ETC and Thrall can start to lock down. The first Immortal now in play, and with both of the teams on level 3, we are missing out on level 4 talent here. Oh, but again, ETC, the focus of attention. Everybody wants a bit of beef. And Stalk is already dashing in. Nah, not quite yet. Had the cooldown, not ready yet to go for Power of Dream again. They lost a fair amount of hit points on their own Immortal though. And are trying to burst the one at the bot lane now down. The problem is that they are missing a bit the damage potential that we are seeing for their opponent, at least in the early stages here. But it looks like it's going to be a fight potentially here instead. So they are starting to initiate stun into... No! Mopsio actually gets away from Power of Dream. A bit of a misstep there. And Diablo goes down. ETC already looking for another power slide. And then 5 versus 4. This is a very sweet setup that we have now for the team in blue. The Google boys here with an opportunity to get the first objective, and they are going to use it. With only 4 heroes on the map, there's very little that Virtus.pro can do about it, and they're not even trying to move in for it and contest because they know that they can't fight that 4 versus 5. So level 4 talents are starting to come in, and that means more power slide with a double neck guitar. Rolling like a stone here has now also been taken. We're currently seeing Snowstorm as the level 4 talent. A full owl build for Tyrande. She is the solo support in this game now, and therefore the cooldown reduction build is what you want to go for. Empower and Pierce, great synergy for these two talents to reduce the cooldown of Shadowstalk for the additional heals, and of course everything else too. Vampiric Strike. Kind of a bit of a popular talent right now on Tyrael. We've seen it a bit more often also in the recent weeks before the last patch. It's, of course, you can go Amplified Healing, but still having this talent in particular helps if you are up at the top lane against that Thrall solo. So Toxical at least now has a bit of a better chance to withstand all that pressure play that Thrall can throw against him. We have for Diablo on level 4 now also the Fire Devil taken. Level 6 nearly, thanks to those structures that have been claimed for team for the Google boys. But with this we have at the bot lane again. Oh, ETC dashing in, going for the wild cow moves, and they kill against Diablo. Great play here actually by the Google boys. They're doing really well. Mopsio is now coming even over to help out. But yeah, it's a 5 versus 3 down here. The rest survives and they move back. But with Mopsio rotating down to the bot lane, of course, also means that he leaves the top lane alone. Falstad is trying to take care of it now and flies in. So that's one of the big assets of having Falstad in-game, that he can just simply like move from one lane to another, so they don't really lose out on experience. And have Thrall now at the bottom of the map. Andilendi, therefore, can at any point start to fly in for an Immortal fight, for example. So it's a bit of a different setup that they're trying to use here. And with the rotation up to the top, they're now attempting to maybe snipe one of these heroes. A bit sneaky about it and starting to move in, but there's there's a dual lane now. Level 7 talent, that's a nice lead. The ETC moves in, and takes down Tyrael. So well played. Very well done actually on their part. Good stun lock once again, and yeah, Tyrael didn't even have an opportunity to jump away there. Frostbitten taken. Cleanse, of course, for Uther. Bit of a no-brainer here for him as well. Secret weapon after Power Throw. The standard build for False that we've now seen for ages. And we have the commitment to that camp that has been taken. But, well, level 7 talents will be ready also for Virtus Pro before the next Immortal is appearing on the map. And that's, of course, the most important part. Kala's Embrace, cooldown reduction for, first of all, well, we could have seen actually a triple battle momentum, I suppose, but we only have it for Tyrael and for Diablo. Tirana decided to instead go into Lunar Blaze, which is going to increase the range of Lunar Flare quite significantly. And it's going to make it a bit easier for her to follow Diablo up with those stuns. Very important that you get that additional stun in. Fusion Bombs for Kel'Thas, starting towards that Chain Lightning build for the damage. And now the Immortal again on the map, and both of the teams, of course, eager to capitalize on that. We see them moving in, and there we go, already in the middle. For now, it actually looks like, once again, Google is starting to take a bit of a superior position here. But with that Diablo comp, they would like to kill someone like Andilendi, which is exactly why the bird barrel rolls away here. And if they can snipe him, that would of course be great. It's a pretty cool positioning that we actually have here. Unstable is keeping in the back. Jaina and Falstad always positioning themselves very nicely. Andilendi with a couple of problems here, apparently. But you can really see it once again. So the big threat is this combo. Is Diablo and also Tirana. So the whole deal is to just like dash in, switch a target around, then the stun comes in and you take it down no matter what. The problem is really that we have with Falstad and with Fixie, the two priority targets, always in the back line. ETC can dash away. He's also a little bit more tricky to snipe because he has more hit points. Same is also true for like Thrall. And we have, of course, Unstable here at the front, who can always just like heal the two of them. And with the backline, with the squishies, always staying away from Diablo, that's all that they have to do. They need to stay away from Diablo enough so that he can't charge in, and that worked very well for them so far. So the positioning, you can see it once again, like they try to find out where Diablo is, and they position themselves away from it. They go in for a kill, and will now move away once again so that nobody can lock them down. Andilendi is going to move to the left side, most likely. Yeah, first of all, getting stunned by the Immortal. And besides that, it's a snipe again, or an attempt of snipe at the Immortal. Uh-oh, Diablo is in a very, very awkward spot here, is getting stunned, and do they get the kill? Yeah, they do, and that, of course, is now the worst case scenario. I mean, like, him taken out, that means that they can't even fight for the Immortal any longer, and we should most likely see, yeah, everybody is welling up. Andilendi is the only one who flies back. Falstad, of course, with that neat trick, interrupted, with a neat trick where he can be back and then uses fly ability to fly back in after regenerated mana, so he's basically not really out of the fight or anything. Yeah, there's the fight. Diablo is back. He had enough souls, actually, thanks to Devil's 2, the level 1 talent. We've been talking about it earlier a bit. ETC moving in again. The mad cow disease is real. And the kill as Falstad flies in. ETC needs to be a bit careful, but so does Lunan. Oh, that double kill. 6 kills against 0. Google, they are taking it again. Ah, God, the Russians here are so strong. Well, the Russian team in blue, Virtus Pro, they played a great second game, but right now they are looking very shaken. And of course, that early level 10 that we now see for Google is going to make it much easier for them to go with the Punisher and take a few structures down. I mean, one of those keeps, the fort at the top lane is going to be lost, and theoretically you could push for keep here. With 10 versus 9, it's a bit of a disaster, to be quite frank. Sundering, Divine Shield, Mighty Gust, Water Elemental, and Moshpit I've used. And yeah, that guy is going to do so much damage. Are they going to try and go for counter-aggression? Yeah, apparently they are. Andilendi is going to attempt to at least dish some damage out. Very solid damage, actually, here. But at the top lane, of course, this is going to be a heavy push right now. They can just obliterate all of these waves, and that fort is going to fall within seconds. And then they're going to go for the keep. But, of course, with the level 10 ability that we now see, thanks to those 2 towers dropped, they can start to go back and start to defend for it. So that's going to be important as well. Sphyxie, Unstable, Mopsio, and Stalk are already up there. The Immortal is still attacking from range, but the shields are gone now. That makes him move into the melee mode and start to take down these towers as well. Apocalypse has been taken, Sanctification, and, well, they take a few of the towers down, but then they leave lane and go probably to the bot lane to attempt and snipe on that fort, which could actually work. Interestingly enough, we have Stalk and Mopsio move to the top lane, so it seems like they are going for the camp instead, which has been scouted out, but a bit too early. Yeah, the move is still there, so they're still moving up. Oh, and they see what's going on, but Stalk and Mopsio, they're able to move away. Diablo missing the grab, and now we have level 12 versus level 10. Still a very solid lead in experience on the side of the Google boys, and at the bot lane they're already attempting to go for the fort as predicted. Very good rotation on the map. I mean, the one thing that you always want to do is you want to look where there's something open on the map, and they took both of the camps. Well, they took the one at the bottom, they tried to take the one at the top too. That didn't work out since the entire red team moved in for it. But now they were able to snipe that fort, and they can go for that battle here. It's still on even talents though, and their rogue abilities are mostly up. 6 kills against 0 still, and both of the teams have now also a bruiser camp that is available to them. One to the left, one to the right that could be taken. A bit of a positioning battle in the middle of the map, but Falstad already went straight to the top. First of all, Falstad needs to try and take... well, again, missing that additional snipe. Falstad actually using the Mighty Gust now, slowing down Diablo, and ETC with a mosh pit. Apocalypse taken. He gets shielded. Wasn't there up there? There's the Sundering. They go for Luna. They go for Power Flame. Nice Shadow Stalk. And again, ETC a bit in trouble, but dashes away and is safe. Diablo is dead, and this time for the full duration, and they are not going to stop there. They go for Luna now up at the top. Falstad is taking him down. That's another double kill. That's 8 kills now against 0. And we have level 13 with a double giant killer. Oh my god, poor Diablo. I mean, even with imposing presence on level 16, this is going to be a disaster for him. Like, a lot of people, they always look at the level 16 or at these giant killer auto attackers, and they're saying like, ah, well, yeah, but he has like imposing presence. And it's definitely true. Imposing presence helps a lot. But it doesn't make you invulnerable against these auto attackers. They're going to take you down anyways. I mean, with that extra damage that they dish out, you're going to slow them down a little bit. But if 2 of those bastards are going to hit you hard, then that imposing presence is maybe a bit of an assistance and keeps you alive a little bit longer, but it's not going to help you preventing you from dying if these guys do too much damage. And right now they're already hitting like a truck. So we have again the snipe for the Immortal, a bit faster, way faster by the way, for the blue team. ETC up at the top lane. We have most of the cooldowns ready. Now a few of them. Water Elemental is going to come off cooldown in a few seconds. So is Divine Shield. Of course, the Mosh Pit, they have to wait for that a bit longer, but that shouldn't be a problem. Lunan with the attempt of a Force Wall. Well, was cute, but I don't think it really did enough. And yeah, they sniped that Immortal, and that is Immortal number 3 now for the Google boys, and they are going to have a field day pushing the next lane here, and potentially even going straight for the first keep of the game. We have currently 11 minutes into the game, 12 minutes in, so the Immortal already, yeah, scaling pretty nicely. And with this many shields, roughly 60%, they have an easy time to use that range mode on it. So in case that you didn't know, I mean, you probably figured it out already in the last battle, but Immortals, as long as they have a shield, they actually have a range attack that they use, and once the shield has been eliminated, the Immortal moves in for melee mode and goes full ham on those structures and tries to take them down. So yeah, that's a slight adjustment that we see there. And of course, stun circles as well can be quite annoying. Level 13 will soon be ready now, and that is going to help. But yeah, this is... The Immortal is like dropping that so fast, and the rest of the team is there too. Mopsio with that self-sustain, and Uther behind him is not going to die anytime soon. There's a level 13 now with the imposing will, with also the overflowing light. Chain bombs finally, maybe that's going to help. Chain bombs, but the keep is down within like seconds. Absolutely no chance of keeping that alive. The question is, can they kill a hero? If they can get level 16 and snipe a hero here, they could go for core. And it looks actually that he's going to try and go for Diablo. Apocalypse is being used, the stun combo, but Divine Shield on Thrall. And they go in again. Here comes Anilendi. He's still, there's the Mosh Pit. Mosh it, baby, mosh it. 1 down, 2 down. They go for the kill against Tyrell, and they get it. This is going to be game. The Immortal is already going straight for the kill on the core. And with a 5-man team wipe, this is it. 2-1 against Virtus.pro. The Google boys, they do it again, and they advance to the winners match at the end of the Storm Group C playoffs.
Okay, everybody, that's it for the day. We had some really fun games here, and I hope that you enjoyed them and also the commentary. Of course, we're going to have more Heroes of the Storm action on the channel in the near future. So if you enjoy the esports scene, Heroes of the Storm, make sure that you hit that subscribe button on Khaldor TV and also like the video if you haven't done that yet already. There's going to be more European games. We're going to have more North American matches as well. And of course, if you're interested in the Chinese Heroes of the Storm esports scene, I'm going to have more games on the channel as well in the near future as those leagues start again. At the same time, though, if you have friends that are also interested in esports and in Heroes of the Storm, make sure that you forward the channel to them and share it with them. It was a pleasure casting for you today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed, as I already mentioned, and I hope to see you next time for more Heroes of the Storm action here on Khaldor TV. See you guys soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.